to something most history books tend to skip over: the lives of women who worked in Victorian brothels. I know it sounds unusual for a bedtime story, but honestly, it's a compelling glimpse into forgotten history about real women just trying to survive in a harsh world. If you're enjoying these stories, I'd really appreciate a like or subscribe. I'm super curious where you're all listening from, so drop a comment with your location and what time it is there. It always amazes me how people are falling asleep to this all over the world. Alright, find that cozy spot, take a nice slow breath, and just let your body sink into whatever you're lying on. We're heading back to Victorian London, and trust me, you're going to be real grateful for that comfortable mattress by the time we're done. So congratulations, you've just woken up in London, 1858, the height of the Victorian era. It's early morning, maybe 5:30, and you're not in some luxurious four-poster bed. You're lying on a somewhat lumpy horsehair mattress with a thin woolen blanket pulled over you. The sheets aren't exactly fresh, they're changed once a week if you're lucky, and they carry the faint scent of cheap rose water that doesn't quite mask the mustiness underneath. The room is chilly, cold, for the small fireplace is carefully rationed, especially in the morning hours. The walls are covered in faded rose-patterned wallpaper, peeling slightly at the corners where dampness has crept in. There's a persistent aroma that fills your nostrils, a mixture of coal smoke from thousands of chimneys, the nearby Thames with its distinct smell of mud and sewage, and something sweeter and more chemical, the perfumes and cosmetics that are essential tools of your trade. You're in a small room at the back of a brothel in the Covent Garden area of London. Not the worst establishment by any means, but certainly not one of the high-class ones either. You share this cramped space with another woman. She's still asleep on the other narrow bed, her breathing deep and steady, shifting slightly. You feel the springs of the mattress creak beneath you. You stretch your legs, pointing your toes, feeling that tension and then the relief as you relax again. That's nice. Just taking a moment before the day begins. Outside, London is already stirring. You hear the clip-clop of horses' hooves on cobblestones, the rattle of cart wheels, and first street vendors beginning their calls. Fresh milk, someone shouts from a few streets away, the voice echoing between the tall buildings. This is your life now, Rose, they call you here, though that's not the name your mother gave you. Been at Mrs. Ashford's house for nearly 3 years now, which makes you something of a fixture. You've seen girls come and go, some moved up to better houses, some disappeared back to the poverty they came from, some fell ill and never recovered. You sit up slowly, letting the blanket fall around your waist. The floorboards are cold against your bare feet as you reach for the woolen shawl hanging on the bedpost and wrap it around your shoulders. Nice and snug, that feels better. On the small table between the beds sits a chipped ceramic pitcher and basin. The water inside has a thin film of ice on top. Winter in London is brutal. You break it with your finger, the cold water stinging your skin before splashing your face. The shock of it fully wakes you, your breath catching for a moment before steadying again. Now, let's talk about how you ended up here, in this room, in this life, because the story might not be what you'd expect. You weren't kidnapped or sold into this work as a child, though that happened to some girls, especially the very young ones. You weren't seduced and abandoned by some gentleman, left pregnant and destitute. That was a common enough tale. No, your path was more mundane and, in many ways, representative of how most women found themselves in this profession. You were a milliner, a hat maker with skilled fingers and an eye for fashion. But there were hundreds of women like you in London, thousands even, all competing for the same poorly paid work. The hours were crushing, sometimes 18 hours a day during the busy season, straining your eyes in poor light, your fingers pricked and bleeding from the fine wire and delicate beads. You lean back against the wall now, feeling its solid support behind you, taking a deep breath. You roll your shoulders, feeling some of the tension release. That's better, just easy and relaxed now. You remember the turning point clearly. It was winter 4 years ago. You hadn't eaten in 3 days. The room you rented was unheated, and you could see your breath misting in the air as you worked frantically to finish a commission that might pay enough for a week's lodging. Your fingers were so numb you kept breaking them with the 8 pins, leaving tiny spots of blood on the delicate silk flowers. A girl you knew, Grace, came to visit. You'd worked together once at another shop. She looked different, healthier, better fed, wearing a wool coat that, well, not fashionable by upper-class standards, was clean and warm and well-made. She brought food, actual hot food, a meat pasty still steaming in its wrapper, and sat with you while you devoured it, trying not to seem as desperate as you felt. "There's a place," she said finally, "a house near Covent Garden. Mrs. Ashford is strict but fair. No rough treatment, no cruelty, 3 meals a day and a proper bed, medical checks twice weekly." She paused, watching your face. "You'd make in a night what you make in a fortnight here, Rose, and you wouldn't be killing yourself with this." She gestured at the pile of half-finished bonnets. The weight of that memory settles over you, and you feel yourself sinking a little deeper into the mattress. Your breathing slows naturally in and out, just like that. The house is starting to wake up around you. You hear footsteps on the stairs. Heavy ones, probably Mrs. Patterson, the housekeeper. There's the clatter of coal being shoveled. Fire being lit downstairs in the parlor where the customers wait. The scent of coffee drifts up. Real coffee, not chicory. Mrs. Ashford's house prides itself on small luxuries. Your roommate stirs, mumbling something in her sleep before turning over. "Ruby, she's called here. She's younger than you by a few years, maybe 22 or 25, with copper-colored hair that the gentlemen seem to favor. She came from a cotton mill in Birmingham. She told you once the noise of the looms had damaged her hearing. In one ear, time to get up properly. You have routines to follow, expectations to meet. Mrs. Patterson runs a tight ship, and lateness isn't tolerated. Mrs. Ashford, to her face, though the girls call her Ash when she's not around, expects everyone downstairs and presentable by noon. Brothel operates on a precise schedule. Mornings are for cleaning, bathing, and rest. Afternoons see a few regular customers, businessmen on extended lunch breaks mainly. Evenings and nights are the busiest times, with the house often full until the early hours. But now, in this quiet morning moment, you take your time. You reach for the small tin on the bedside table and remove the little lump of beeswax inside. Warming it between your palms, you then smooth it over your chapped lips. Another small luxury. Mrs. Ashford insists that the girls take care of themselves. You're selling an illusion. "Girls," she often says, "gentlemen don't want to see the reality of a working woman's life." You find yourself nodding slightly at the thought. Good advice, really. Most of the men who visit don't want reality. They want fantasy, escape, something different from their respectable wives and homes. Something that makes them feel special or powerful or simply seen. Standing up, you stretch fully, arms reaching toward the low ceiling, feeling the pleasant pull in your muscles. Your nightdress, a simple cotton affair, nothing like the silk and lace confections you wear for work, falls around your ankles. As you move to the small wardrobe during the day, when not entertaining, you wear ordinary clothes, a simple dress, practical shoes, nothing that would mark you out as different from any other working woman on the streets of London. That's important. While brothels themselves aren't illegal, public solicitation is, and the police generally leave established houses alone, especially those that pay the expected bribes, but discretion is still necessary. You select a dark green dress, slightly faded but well mended, and lay it on the bed. Getting dressed is a slower process than it will be later when you might need to change quickly between customers. Now you can take your time, enjoying the routine of it. Stockings first, then petticoat, then corset, not tightly laced during the day, just enough to provide structure. As you dress, you think about the day ahead. Wednesday is usually quiet. There might be a few regulars in the afternoon. Mr. Thompson, the clerk from the shipping office, who visits every other week and mainly wants to talk about his collection of pressed flowers. Or perhaps the nervous young man who gives his name as Jones and never stays longer than 20 minutes outside. The sounds of London grow louder as the morning advances. A group of children run past below the window, their shrill voices rising. Above the general din, a dog barks somewhere nearby. A street vendor begins his melodic call, scissors to grind, scissors to grind. The normalcy of it all still sometimes strikes you as strange. This life, this work that society condemns as the ultimate female degradation, happens right alongside ordinary London life. The baker delivers fresh bread to the brothel just as he does to the respectable boarding house. Next door, the coalman, milkman, the seamstress all come and go, providing the same services they provide to any household. You sit back down on the edge of the bed, taking a moment just to breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Nice and easy, that's it. There's a quiet knock at the door. Hot water. Miss, comes a voice, young Annie, the maid of all work. She's only 14, too young for the house's main business. Mrs. Ashford took her in when she found her begging on the street, half-starved. Now she helps the housekeeper, runs errands, and sleeps in a tiny room off the kitchen. In a few years, she'll likely join the other girls, but for now, she's protected, which is more than can be said for many children on London streets. Come. In Annie, you call. The door opens and the girl enters carrying a large jug of steaming water. Her face is freshly scrubbed, her brown hair neatly braided. Morning, Miss Rose, she says cheerfully, pouring the hot water into your basin. Cold one today. Mrs. Patterson says there might be frost later. Thank you, Annie, you say, giving her a smile. Had your breakfast yet? Yes, miss. Cook made porridge with treacle. There's coffee in the kitchen if you want some, and fresh. Bread too. This is another thing that makes Mrs. Ashford's house better than some regular meals. Decent food. In the worst brothels, girls might go hungry if business is slow, or be fed scraps barely fit for consumption. Here, Mrs. Ashford understands that healthy girls earn more money. Annie leaves and you wash properly with the hot water, enjoying the warmth on your skin. Routine is soothing, face first, then neck, arms, under your arms, and finally a quick rinse of your most intimate areas. Full bathing happens twice a week in this house, Tuesdays and Saturdays, in the copper tub that's brought into the kitchen. It's more frequent than many respectable working-class women manage, actually. Once washed, you feel more human. You run a comb through your hair. Dark blonde, thick, reaching halfway down your back when loose. For daytime, you twist it into a simple knot at the nape of your neck. Later, for work, you'll style it more elaborately, perhaps with the artificial hairpiece that adds volume and curls. There's a small mirror propped on the dresser. Its silver backing spotted with age. You check your reflection briefly. Your face is looking better than it did in your millinery days. Regular food has filled out the hollows in your cheeks, added a healthier color to your skin. Your eyes, though, they've changed. More guarded now, more watchful. You've seen things, know things that the innocent girl from the countryside never imagined. You shake off the moment of reflection, no use dwelling on such thoughts. Instead, you focus on finishing dressing, lacing your boots with practiced fingers, each movement precise and familiar, settling into the rhythm of the task. Your breathing naturally slows in and out, steady and calm. Fully dressed now, you're ready to face the day. Your first task will be breakfast, then helping with the general cleaning of the house. Each girl has assigned duties. Yours include dusting the front parlor and polishing the glassware. In the small bar area, Mrs. Ashford believes idle hands lead to trouble. So even when not entertaining customers, the girls are kept busy. Ruby finally stirs properly. Sitting up with a yawn, morning, she mumbles, pushing her tangled copper hair from her face. What time is it? Just past 7, you tell her. Plenty of time yet. She nods, stretching her arms above her head. Had that dream again, she says, the one about the seaside. Have you ever been, Rose, to the sea? Once, you say, remembering a rare family outing years ago. Margate when I was small. I'd like to go someday, Ruby says, her voice wistful. They say the air is different there, cleaner, that you can breathe proper. This is a common dream among the girls, saving enough to escape London to start fresh somewhere else. Some manage it, most don't. The money that seems so good compared to other women's work still slips away, some to lodging and food, some to clothes and necessities for the job, some to small comforts and luxuries that make the life bearable. You tell her, though you're not sure you believe it. Keep putting something aside each week, even just a sixpence. It adds up. She nods. But you both know how hard it is to save. There's always something, a toothache needing treatment, a dress torn beyond mending, a friend in desperate need. Life has a way of consuming whatever small buffer you try to build. You feel a moment of heaviness at the thought, then consciously let it go. Your shoulders drop slightly as you exhale. That's better. Just easy now. I'll see you downstairs, you tell Ruby, who's finally getting up. Don't be too long. Mrs. Patterson was stomping about earlier, and you know what that means. She's in a mood. Ruby agrees with a grimace. I'll hurry. You leave the room, closing the door quietly behind you. The narrow hallway is dimly lit with worn carpet running. Its length, there are 5 other bedrooms on this floor, all similar to yours. Downstairs are the public rooms, the parlor where customers are received, a small dining room, the kitchen and servants' quarters at the back. The best bedroom, reserved for Mrs. Ashford's personal use, is on the ground floor, allowing her to monitor comings and goings. The house itself is narrow but tall, squeezed between similar buildings on a side street. It's respectably maintained on the outside, with clean curtains in the windows and a freshly painted door. Nothing identifies it as a brothel. There's no red light, no obvious sign. Customers know to come here through word of mouth, through discreet advertisements in certain publications, through the network of cab drivers and hotel porters who receive commissions for directing gentlemen this way as you descend the stairs. The smell of coffee grows stronger, mingling now with baking bread and frying bacon. Your stomach rumbles in response. The wooden stairs creak slightly underfoot, a homely, familiar sound. You run your hand along the banister, feeling its smoothness from years of similar touches. The house is warming up now as fires are lit in the main rooms. A persistent London chill is retreating, at least within these walls. You can hear the housekeeper's voice from the kitchen, giving instructions to the cook, the normal domestic, sounds of any household beginning its day, and for now, in this moment, it could almost be any house, any life. There's a rhythm to the morning that's soothing in its predictability, a pattern that carries you forward one step at a time through each day. You feel your body settling into that rhythm, your breathing matching its gentle pace in and out. Easy and calm, you pause at the bottom of the stairs, taking a moment just to be. Your muscles feel loose and comfortable, your mind quiet. Despite everything, there's a certain peace in this moment, in the simple fact of being alive. Having survived another night in a city that devours so many, the kitchen door is open. Warm light spilling into the hallway. You can see the cook, the stove, her broad back turned to you as she works, and he is setting the table in the corner where the servants and girls eat together. Mrs. Patterson is reading a letter, her spectacles perched on her nose, her gray hair neatly tucked under her cap. An ordinary scene, a moment of calm before the complex dance of the day begins. You take a deep breath, filling your lungs completely, and then release it slowly. Your shoulders drop, tension flowing away like water. You're ready now. You step forward into the kitchen's warmth, into the mingled scents of coffee and bread and wood smoke, into the quiet chatter of the beginning day. The morning pauses in its familiar routine, breakfast with the other girls, household chores, the quiet preparation for the day's work. By afternoon, you're in your slightly better dress, ready to receive customers if they should call. The house has settled into its midday quiet, the brief lull between morning activities and evening business. You're in the parlor, polishing glasses with slow, meditative movements when Mrs. Ashford appears. "Rose, dear," she says in her cultured voice, "we have a gentleman caller, Mr. Whitmore. He's new to the house, but comes with excellent references." You set down your polishing cloth and smooth your dress. The afternoon encounters are often more personal, less hurried than the evening ones. Businessmen taking extended lunch breaks, nervous first-time visitors, lonely widowers seeking companionship, as much as physical comfort. Parlor is transformed with the customer's presence, suddenly more formal, more theatrical. You perform your role with practiced grace, the charming companion, the sympathetic listener, the woman who makes a man feel interesting and desired. Conversation flows through familiar patterns, the weather, business conditions, perhaps a comment about the political situation, all leading to the inevitable moment when the transaction moves from the parlor to the private room upstairs. The encounter itself is professional, efficient, not unpleasant. Mr. Whitmore proves to be a considerate partner, grateful for the attention and warmth. Afterward, there's the ritual of cleaning, of preparing the room for the next customer, of returning to the kitchen for tea and quiet conversation with the other girls about the day's work. As evening approaches and the last customer departs, you find yourself back in your shared room with Ruby. The day's work is done, the house settling into its nighttime rhythm. You help each other out of your working clothes, back into simple night dresses, the elaborate hairstyles taken down and brushed out. The gas lamp casts a gentle glow over the small space as you both prepare for sleep. "Good day," Ruby asks, settling onto her bed with a tired sigh. "Quiet but decent," you reply, appreciating the warmth of your nightdress against your skin. Mr. Whitmore seemed pleasant enough, might become a regular. Conversation drifts to tomorrow's plans, small domestic concerns, the gentle chatter of women sharing living space in similar circumstances. Outside, London continues its endless symphony, distant voices, the clip-clop of horses, the whistle of trains carrying people to destinations you may never see but hear. In this small room, there's a pocket of peace. You extinguish the lamp and slip beneath your blanket, feeling the familiar comfort of the horsehair mattress. However lumpy, Ruby's breathing soon deepens into sleep, and you lie listening to the night sounds of the city. Your body relaxed and comfortable despite the day's exertions. Your breathing finds its natural rhythm, slow, deep, regular. The weight of the blanket, the softness of the pillow, the gradual relaxation of your limbs all carry you towards sleep. Tomorrow will bring another day much like this one, with its mixture of routine and uncertainty, small comforts and hard realities. But for now, there's just this moment of rest, this blessed slide toward unconsciousness, carrying you away from the complexities of your Victorian world into the simple peace of dreams.